what's happening, everybody? My name's Chad.
I'm Ariana.
Hey, and I'm Mel.
And welcome to Twin Movies, the only show where we talk about twin movies. I think. I haven't checked. Here's the deal. Today, we are going to get into The Equalizer versus John Wick. The stare down. Who wants to tell me what John Wick is about?
So John Wick is a badass dude. His wife has recently passed away, and the one last present that he is given, and the two things he loves most in this world are his car and his dog. And Russian gangsters come and take those both away. Comes across as a pretty average dude from like the opening scenes, and then you find out he was the man among men, and he is the person you call to clean everything up if you want the job done correctly and efficient. And he's one of the only people who's escaped the life. He's gotten out, and then he just goes on a badass gun rampage and shoots down everyone he has beef with. So, yeah. I that's really all John Wick is. There's really not much more plot. There's that shitty assassin who tries to kill him within the hotel, and he's not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
That bitch, I
That
hated her.
was weird.
So, I want vengeance against her. I'm so happy they shot her. But that's basically it. Oh, he loses his friend who was helping him out along the way, who didn't take the hit.
Yep.
And then he goes after the gangster's son.
Yep.
This gangster gives up his own son because he has no, loyalty either. And then he ends up killing the gangster overall because he's trash.
Yeah, and that was stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're just gonna turn around and be like, "Oh, you killed my son," and all this stuff, then
Anyway.
you and your son should have teamed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you gave him up.
Mel, what do you got for Equalizer?
So we have this. I guess you could say he's a retired military guy, and he's just trying to live, a nice peaceful life, a quiet life. His wife has passed away. I'll say probably a little farther away than John Wick's wife.
Yeah.
And he all of a sudden builds this connection with this girl who, is in with the wrong crowd and stuff. And she's a prostitute, sadly. And he's just trying to make sure that he puts her towards the right path, but also minding his business at first. All of a sudden, he gets into this whole drama with the Russian mafia or the Russian mob, whatever, because they go ahead and attack this girl because, she has a smart mouth. And they just try to put her in her place, but they go a little overboard. And he straight up, and he's petty, and he's like, you know what, all right, since y'all want to do that, I'm going to go a little bit even more over the top, and takes them out almost one by one, pretty much. And Russian mafia brings in a guy to come hunt him down or hunt whoever is doing this. And then he finds out who it is, and he kind of plays some mind games with him. It's like a cat and mouse type thing. It's ridiculous because he could have killed him if he wanted to.
Right. So many opportunities.
And then that's when the Russian guy takes over his job and kidnaps everybody. And instead of at least being like a realistic bad guy, he just has them sit in the boardroom or something. And then that's when you got Denzel Washington's character all of a sudden turns into Batman and just takes out everybody. And in the most gruesome ways. It was crazy. And then that's when the final boss or the big bad guy and him, they face off, and it's probably one of the most underwhelming fights I've ever seen. They was building this dude up to be this real badass hitman.
Oh my god!
And Denzel Washington just took him out with some nails.
It's so weird listening to him being explained by somebody after just watching him. Yeah, you're right.
For y'all, how do you feel about the similarity? How close are these movies? I know, Mel, you said you kind of feel like it's the same movie.
When it comes to both of them having a dead wife, and then both of them having something that they start to care for in the beginning, but then something happens to that thing that they cared for where it makes them go ahead and retaliate towards the Russian mafia.
Specifically
or the
Russian mafia.
And then that's when both of them have this face-to-face talk, but it's just in different circumstances. And that's when the ending fight is them in the rain or something like that. So
while I was watching The Equalizer earlier, I didn't think they were that close of twin movies. Very fraternal. Kind of separated.
I agree with you.
Because there's just so much more plot to the Equalizer. There's so many more things. Like John Wick, you get in, they fuck you up real quick and hard in the beginning, ruin your whole entire day, and then he just goes and shoots people for an hour or so. You know what I mean? Like that. With the Equalizer, there's like, I think there are different themes. I mean, it is absolutely insane. 2 dead wives, Russian mob.
Yeah.
So like that for me is like very similar, but at the core of it, I don't know. They are definitely, there are similarities there, hardcore, but they are very spread apart for me.
I mean, like I agree with you on that point, and that's when, like, because when I first watched both of the movies, I wasn't really paying that much attention to how like similar and different they was to a certain extent. Like there were certain things where I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can see that. But then when I watched that video earlier,
first he hops on a city bus and goes to visit his Latino friend. Then he's all like, do you know anything about gangsters or thugs or whatever? And the Latino guys are like, well, as a matter of fact, I do.
I was just, now I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much the exact same movie.
I kind of agree with both of you. I think that on one hand, like you said, I felt the same way about the end fight boss scene at the end. Both of them to me are super underwhelming. And the one with John Wick I thought was so funny because I was like, when was I ever supposed to believe that this dude could fight John Wick? Like
exactly.
He's just some old dude.
I said exactly. Like if they would have casted somebody else like I forget what his name is. Like Peter, what is this? He was the blonde hair dude.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Stormare.
If he was the dad,
I agree.
I would have been like, yeah. But you know, it's crazy is he's actually in John Wick 2, I think.
Oh, is he? So, they learned their lesson.
Yeah.
Totally agree on that. But I also agree with Ariana on they kind of just, it's very similar in my opinion with the whole like, oh, Russian mafia. It's just that they added 5 more layers. Yeah. It's like this guy, oh no, but then like there's this other dude. Oh no, but there's this other dude.
Right.
And so it's like this 4 layer. I felt like that was so unnecessary. You could combine the bottom 3 guys into just one dude. And that's basically what they did in John Wick. It's just the dad and the son. Everyone else is a goon. But there's like 3 or 4 guys who feel really important. All right, so we've got a little bit further away. Pretty close. I think they're definitely close enough. They're not as close as probably like an Olympus Has Fallen versus a White House Down.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
But we've also covered things like The Prestige versus The Illusionist, and this looks substantially closer than like those two did. So this is probably closer on my close end spectrum than my further spectrum. Round 3, fight. I guess part of what makes them twins and part of what I think they're about is that these movies represent the kind of lone gunslinger. They're like a modern Western. You don't call the cops, you just go deal with it. And if you are interacting with the cops, they're probably corrupt or on the payroll or something. In John Wick, they kind of hand wave the cops by just being like, they just kind of know who he is and they don't want to mess with him. And in this one, the cops are more of a character with that dude from Stranger Things and him kind of being like a corrupt police officer and he's kind of on the take, whatever. Who handled that idea of like lone gunslinger, slightly older dude, he was retired, he's coming back.
I love Denzel.
Yeah.
Period, point blank.
He's lovable.
He's great. He plays the retired man coming out to kick some ass so well. But on the other hand, I love Keanu and John Wick. He's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, for me, like they're almost too far apart for me to say who did it better within that sense. I would say I have less questions about John Wick's plot and how that is executed and it like from start to finish. That's what I'm saying. If we're going lone gunslinger, him, John Wick.
I also, can we give it up for the filmmaking in John Wick as well?
That's the other thing too. It's very well done.
Yes, absolutely.
That movie makes him look good.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So for me, I'm going to say John Wick.
No, I'll probably agree with you on that because when it comes to just the action standpoint,
right?
You know, they actually show you this man going up against pretty much this whole organization.
Right.
But when it comes to Denzel Washington's character, they wanted it to be a lot more realistic to some point. You know, going to your previous point of talking about like having the extra like bad guys, henchmen and all that stuff. Instead of just having like 1 to 2 people to go through.
Right.
But also when it comes to Denzel Washington's take on this character, it's just the way his performance is. I would say that he's a lot more intimidating than John Wick.
Absolutely.
Because it's just like he has this cold look on his face. He doesn't get loud and doesn't really show no emotion.
Right.
And then the fact that he just looks at his clock or his watch and then is like, all right, I got this amount of time. I can probably take about 6 of these dudes out in this time.
Or when Homie in the diner comes talking mess and he starts looking at his watch.
It's just like, wow. And then his kills are just so gruesome, you know.
Yes,
like
that's
John Wick has the gun and just shoot somebody in the head, you know, that's easy, but this dude was taking people out. I think he put a shot glass into somebody's eye or something. That was crazy.
Well, the Home Alone Home Depot scene, basically, where he's got all the booby traps and stuff. It's all the like,
the barbed wire where he's like just hanging there. It's like,
exactly.
oh god.
Oh yeah, and he just staring him into his face while blood is just dripping from him. Like
exactly.
wow, but like kind of the same thing happened with John Wick, because he stabbed a dude with a knife and just looked him straight in his eye. Like, that was savage.
Both movies are very creative with the kills, but for different reasons. I think that Equalizer was creative in actually the kills. Like you said, there was a lot of interesting ways for him to take out a bunch of guys in a room. And they also kind of borrowed from what felt like that Sherlock Holmes thing, where he kind of does the like slow-mo, reads the room.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'll do this and then this. So that was all really cool, and I like that a lot. But what I did really like about John Wick is that I feel like it did what Equilibrium was trying to do with the gun kata thing, and it actually pulled it off. I love how they turned because when you use a gun is a long-range, medium-range weapon, right? So if the whole movie was him going into an alleyway or a corner and shooting at people and they were shooting back, it's the most boring movie ever. But he uses a gun like it's a close combat weapon. Right. So he has all this kind of like dance choreography that he does. And watching him run through a house of people is also really entertaining, because it's kind of this like punch shooting that he does. He always wants to get like right up in your chest and shoot you in the face and then turn around and roll over on another guy and then shoot him close range. So that was also super creative, but I didn't expect the Equalizer movie to go quite so ham on the like it's like it's more of a horror movie.
The drill from the back of the head.
That was crazy. That whole ending was just so crazy.
I didn't see that coming, I'll be honest.
I did not know he was that ruthless. Like,
I guess I thought with Equalizer that it was just going to be more of one of those kind of like Death Wish type movies where it's like, I'm an old guy and I still got it, and there's punks in the street and I need to teach them a lesson. And I can't say it's completely not that movie, but it was more creative than a lot of those movies are.
That's fair.
I would watch this over in Expendables again or something like that.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, I know, like, the Equalizer took itself a lot more serious than a lot of those other type of movies, which I know that might have thrown a lot of people off, or they probably felt bored, because there was some points in that movie, especially the beginning, I was just like, bro, can we hurry up? It's like, I know that they wanted to build a story and they wanted you to care more for the characters. Unlike John Wick, John Wick understood what people were coming there for.
Yeah.
And they did it fantastically when it comes to the directing and just the choreography and all that stuff. And I will say, when it comes to the Equalizer, they teased you a lot, because there was a few times where they let you know that he did something to somebody, but they didn't show you. And I was just like, I wish they would have showed us. Like, when the guy came to rob the Home Mart or whatever it's called. And he took the hammer and went to take him out. I was like, I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think John Wick feels almost like a comic book. Like, it basically, after about the half an hour mark, like, we're going. Like, we're off to the races now. Like, we've said what we need to say. And I think one thing about that's a big difference is that relationship with a prostitute girl, much like a Ken taxi driver, is substantially more complicated than just a puppy.
Right.
So when you got the puppy, you don't need anything. Puppy shows up, next scene, puppy's dead, boom, we're off to the races. So with the girl, they had to spend, like you said, that kind of taking it more seriously, taking it more realistically or believably. They had to have a little time for him to kind of talk to the girl and get to know her and blah, blah, blah. And that worked, but it's just like, if you have a puppy, you don't have to waste all that time. We can just get right to it, you know?
It's true. Exactly.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
It's just simple.
I would have to say I enjoyed The Equalizer probably a little bit more than John Wick.
Oh, cool.
But I just like the plot, and I like Denzel.
Well, but it's more plot heavy, yeah.
I do. It's more plot heavy. I like the plot. I like the thing. Like you said, though, the 3 layers of the Iron Curtain, essentially, were a little much for me.
It's got a little Eastern Promises for anyone who's seen it.
Yeah.
It has a little bit of that feel.
But I really... I was engaged with the storyline more.
Sure.
But yet again, like, it's not like I was disengaged with John Wick, because, yet again, John Wick is John Wick. It's on... It's right there in front of you. You know exactly what you're getting into. And then... But with watching The Equalizer, it's like, oh... Interesting. I felt like he gave more of a Robin Hood vibe versus just like John Wick only being there for vengeance for this one thing. You know what I mean?
Yes. Literally at the end of Equalizer, he sets himself up like the A-team. Like, if you need help, you call me and I'll come and save you. Like,
exactly.
I thought that was a nice little touch to add on for some sequels and
stuff. Where you have no no theory that like you can just call John Wick and he'll come handle something.
Absolutely
Like,
not. I have at no point is that happening. Like I would say like both are, I don't know. For me, that's what I said, they're so different in my mind that it's hard to compare when it comes to like that kind of thing. There was parts where I definitely
for which
like,
one you enjoy more. But,
yeah.
But like your girlfriends are like, hey, we're gonna watch John Wick or Equalizer on a Saturday. Which one you want to watch?
If I'm watching it with my girlfriends, I'm watching Equalizer because there's more plot.
Oh no, but I think that's a fair point.
But if my brothers came over, I would be like, let's watch John Wick.
Interesting. Your
You know
brother's
what I
less
mean?
in the plot, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that they're not going to hate the Equalizer, but I'm saying if we're going, because girls care more about plot, period. Like, I hate to say it, we do.
Wow, I'm surprised about that. I didn't know that. I thought it was the opposite.
You learn something new every day, man.
Especially in this day and age, like who cares about plot anymore?
Yeah, anyone,
you know?
right? Yeah.
I get, it's a perk, maybe it's just a me thing. I get bored with just like action. It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, no, I totally
I have nothing to think about. I'm just watching it.
No,
you know
I
what
totally
I mean? Like
feel
if I'm mindless and I want to be on my phone or something, yeah, like whatever. But
No,
if,
and
like,
that's
I want
why-
to be into the movie.
That's why
I need a
was
little something to care about.
Yeah,
I need the attachment.
That's why I was
And
surprised.
I was devastated when the puppy died. I was so fucked up for like 45 minutes.
She has to be doing this on purpose.
I literally like mentioned, I'm like literally, if you watch my reaction, it's like 40 minutes later. I'm crying about the damn dog. So I don't know.
John Wick basically does all of its plot lifting in the first like half an hour, and then almost the entire rest of it is revenge stuff. The couple exceptions are basically the Willem Dafoe character being a little bit mixed in with whose side is he on, and then the assassin girl who just kind of behaves stupidly.
I think that's his ex-girlfriend or something.
You know, it has to be, man.
She's mad, you know, she can't get the D anymore, so she wanted to kill him.
She knew it.
I was like, it was so random.
She did some vengeful shit.
Like, I haven't seen you in so long. You like, hey, John Wick. I'm like, hey, what's up? You feel me? Then all of a sudden, you're trying to kill me. I'm like, what's up?
Not to mention, you know the rules, so I guess
that's you know the rules. So it's something more than just money.
She's mad. He left her bad. She was down bad, and he left her. So what I would say is that Equalizer, I like that there's more kind of plot to it. I don't necessarily love the plot, but there is more going on, which was nice. With John Wick, though, what I gotta say is I kind of love the weird, fantastical, magical realism almost that it got into. Equalizer feels like it's crazy, but it's like a horror movie, but it takes place in our world. John Wick is like, we have a magical hotel where only assassins live, and we trade in gold doubloons with each other.
Like a magical part of New York that only assassins live. Because the whole time they killing each other, where is the cop?
Jimmy shows up at the door. You good?
They really get a shootout going on in a cathedral parking lot. Where are the cops?
Homegirl was like shot at a park by like 11 dudes or whatever.
Yeah, like oh god,
and none of them shot each other. But I remember that is a part of what kind of kept me interested. Is the whole time I was just thinking, ooh, I kind of want to know about this weird world you live in.
Same. That's true.
Yeah.
We did have that conversation. I did really.
Yeah,
I wanted to be a part of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Dudes run up on your house.
I feel like that's one of the things that really drew a lot of people towards John Wick was just the world that they build, which is a very interesting world. It's nice.
Yeah, there's just this kind of, it hints at a larger world than there was, so I think that helps a lot with keeping it engaging throughout the rest of the movie versus you just kind of being like, I can't watch this guy shoot another person. Like, I'm so sick of it.
I mean, and it's cool that the sequels kept that same energy too and didn't like go away from that. It was like, all right, now let's start trying to like bring in the exposition scenes and all that stuff like other franchises would do.
Or you have the new guy who doesn't know anything and his job is to be the guy who's like, oh, what's up with these coins?
Yeah, like what the hell? It's unnecessary. I don't care.
Exactly.
Shoot, shove that coin up somebody's nose or something. I don't care.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I want to see.
That's what I'm hearing.
But yeah, now that you said something about the Equalizer reminding you of Taxi Driver, I never thought of that until you brought it up. It really does. Yeah. Even though the girl was gone for pretty much the whole movie. It's like, girl, you the reason all this is happening. Where are you?
Like, I got a question too. Why didn't they just kill her? It could have just been like John Wick. Like, instead of her getting roughed up, it could have been, I guess they wanted him to look like more of a hero that he saved her and less of it being a revenge story.
And I mean, like, and they could have killed her too. So she was like the cause of all this. Because I think throughout the whole movie, she probably was just in the hospital. I think that's probably what it was.
So I was thinking she could have been more like the puppy and they could have like killed her, and then he just goes ham and has to get all these
And
guys.
I know that probably would have had a lot of people feel somewhat emotions for her, you know, if people felt something for the relationship, but, you know, I know a lot of people have probably been like, you know, this is boring,
Whatever.
I don't care, you know, but if it's a dog, they like, oh, nah, kill them people.
All of them.
All of them.
Sure, I don't care about a little girl, but, you know, them dogs, you know.
No, he's totally right. It's so true. It's so true. Well, the reason I say that happens is because a dog is simple.
Yeah.
Like, we know dog is innocent. There's nothing that dog could have done that makes that okay.
You're not wrong. Okay, yeah.
You know?
I get,
and
I get
people
what
are
you're saying, yeah.
complicated. It's
People
like,
are complicated.
maybe she had it coming. There's like, and you're not even, I think, objectively thinking it, but you just know in your subconscious that people are complicated. So when bad things happen around people, it's like, well, there's a lot of things. Who knows what exactly? But when it's a puppy, you're just like, no, there's no questions. Like, we just know that shouldn't have happened. Fuck that dude. Go get him, right? But I think maybe the reason they didn't want to kill her is because they wanted to drive home that homie is like a savior. And so it's like he fixed the problem. He's the A-team. You call him. You don't call him to avenge you after someone killed you. You call him to keep them from killing you in the first place. So maybe that's why she had to survive. So yeah, it's kind of like they tried to do, I think you still can map 90% of those movies over each other. Yeah. It's just that in most situations, I think The Equalizer did it in a more kind of traditional movie sense and a little bit more in a complex sense.
I would have to agree with that. That's probably why completely.
Yeah, and I felt like The Equalizer, like it started to get a whole lot more interesting when he got into the room with the Russian mafia, the Russian mob, whatever.
Yeah.
Because after that, that's when they got rolling and they brought the other guy in. And both of them were doing a thing. Just wish the fight was a whole lot better.
I know too.
Like he fit the role. Like, and he had the look.
Yeah.
He seemed way more believable to be a badass than this old guy. Crazy. This old guy knew all these freaking mixed martial arts moves and stuff. This other dude can't fight against some nails. All right.
It's gotta be that they were like, we don't want, if we actually have Denzel Washington in a fist fight with this guy, he's gonna look old. And we can't have him looking old. I do think that the movie, very expertly craftsmanship-wise, kind of cut around things that he would do that would make it accentuate the fact that he was 60. He's not running around doing flying spin kicks and stuff. I mean, think about some of those John Wick moves where he's like jumping on people and rolling over while he's shooting guys. Like, there's not a lot of that going on.
He's got to be more creative. That's fair.
Which maybe is why they had to up the ante with the actual just kills being more kind of like horrifying. It's like, okay, we're going to do...
Because it's got to be more creative. Because like you said, a hand-to-hand combat, no, he's probably not coming out on top.
Right,
truthfully, at the end, if it's just a fist fight.
Or at minimum, he's going to look old and tired, and everyone else is going to look like they're very accommodating. That they were like, oh no,
but that's one of the things that I was looking forward to when it comes to the Equalizer. I knew he was going to look old and tired, and you had this other guy who looked like he was somewhat just getting out of his prime or whatever.
Oh, that's
and both
fair.
of them fighting. And then that's when, with the water coming down, you could have had maybe a stunt double or something and cover that up, like how they did with the old guy.
Oh, you're right, because even the old guy in John Wick goes for it. Like,
and I think he was older than freaking Denzel in that movie. So
he sure looked like it.
Dude looked like he was about 200 years old or something.
I also love he not only looks old, but he also just looks out of shape. He's just dad bod. All you ever see him doing is just like drinking whiskey and smoking, and like so you don't assume that he's like
he was drunk.
He was drunk.
He was drunk. And you tell him you keeping up with John Wick, you're drunk. Really? He was just drinking the whole time. John Wick was killing everybody with his car. Yeah. And then he was smoking cigarettes or a cigar. So I know your ass tired. You can't breathe. You feel me?
That mayhem, dude, from those Allstate commercials where everyone's all mad.
Yeah.
That's so true, man. And he almost won. Like, he gave John the business.
Yeah.
Over anyone else in the whole movie.
I think the only reason why he stood a chance is because it was raining. You know, John Wick probably was slipping and stuff. And then also he was hurt in previous fights.
Yeah, they had to do that. Because if they didn't do that, you would have really called BS. Like, no way. I didn't want that to even be a fight in John Wick. I was hoping he would just go up and just shoot the guy. Like, the guy would try to say something or whatever. I was like, oh, they're really going to sit here and, okay, whatever.
Yeah, like, I feel like both of them should have switched endings when it comes to the fights.
I completely agree. Damn.
Because then it would have made more sense with John Wick's character, because like none of us believe that.
No,
and then when it comes to like the Equalizer, it would have been a whole lot more like satisfying, because we spent like almost a whole hour sitting through some boring stuff. So, you know.
That's right.
Well, and like you said, they
You're
kept
wrong.
setting that guy up like, oh, these two are going to go at it. These two are
Right.
going to go at
Yeah.
it. They didn't do that in John Wick. There's never a point that I thought those two were going to fist fight. Never once. Never once. When that happened, I wasn't like, finally.
Yeah, it wasn't like this is how they have to end this movie, like at all. Like it was like just,
No, Mel, I could
Yeah.
not agree with you more. You're
Yeah.
totally right.
Yeah,
They
it's
should have swapped
crazy.
those endings.
Everybody who had lines pretty much was like the easiest fight for John Wick. The people who didn't have lines was the hardest ones to fight. But I do like that the one guy who like I feel like was the hardest one for John Wick to fight. He was in one of the Matrix movies. He was one of the agents
in the second
So
one.
I felt like that was pretty cool because you know he was an agent fighting Neo. So that makes sense for him to like stand toe to toe.
Okay, great. So that brings us into the verdict. So which one do you guys think is the handle the concept better?
John Wick gives you what you need. Like you said, there is that they keep you completely in touch with like the background world and all that, like the background story of that. And then honestly, like it's just for me, it doesn't have those dead times the way the Equalizer does.
Yeah.
So John Wick, I sat here, watched, and was completely engaged the whole time.
Right,
So
yeah.
overall, John Wick for me.
No, I feel you on that. Yeah.
Sure, well, if we're talking about that when it comes to like a middle-aged guy going up against, you know, the Russian mafia, then I feel like John Wick did a better job with that pretty much.
Okay.
Because it showed you him going up against so many different adversaries and just taking them out and doing them in very entertaining ways and stuff. So I'll give it to John Wick.
Sure. So I went into this being convinced I was going to give concept to John Wick because I was like, I love the gold doubloons. I love the like heightened reality stuff. I like the gun kata of him kind of flying around and doing the close, gun punching. But honestly, you guys have really pulled me around on Equalizer a lot. Like, I think y'all are right about a lot of the things that I was kind of underappreciating. And like parts that in my brain I was interpreting as, man, this is boring. But it's like, no, but this is also like plot.
Yeah.
Where John Wick kind of gives up on plot after the first 45 minutes.
You're not wrong.
It's like we're just moving forward.
That's fair.
The other thing is, Mel, what you just said, I think you could say the same thing for Equalizer as well, with you've got the interesting kills. John Wick has something really cool going for it, but it kind of tries to carry that the entire way, which is like the gun work is really cool looking, but it's the same after a while. And with Equalizer, they do keep trying to kind of switch up the ante and having it be, like I said, there's like a straight up like Home Alone style, like building contraption stuff. And there's the, and the Sherlock Holmes kind of, like, oh, discombobulate and then blah, blah, blah. So it's almost a toss up for me, but just for, man, I think I'm still going to go with John Wick because I do also think that Equalizer is a bit more derivative. I assume John Wick was going to be just another, Death Wish type of movie. And I don't think it is. Where I do think Equalizer still is. It's just a better version of one than I was expecting. And then also, if I had to compare some of the parallels, I think the puppy works better than the girl. Like Mel said, I think a lot of people probably were just like, I don't care.
I mean, she had terrible wigs, terrible makeup, didn't know how to dress. I'm sorry, bro.
Wigs.
All right, so then, basically the funness factor. Which one's more entertaining movie? Which one do you enjoy more? If you had to recommend it on entertainment value, which one you got? Right, these two movies are closer to me than I thought.
They are. That one's hard because The Equalizer, his kills were really, really fun and they're interesting and like just the wine opener through the jaw. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
Right.
So like, just like kind of that was fun. And honestly, like also like this might not be fun to people, but like the building of like finding out he was like ex-CIA or whatever he was and going to that like digging for that information and him popping up made it more fun. But John Wick is
I was going to say, do you feel like John Wick doesn't do the same thing, though? Like
it does.
I sent him on a mission that was impossible, and he did it,
And he did it. He got out. He's the only man that's gotten out. So, like...
The movies are shockingly similar to me.
Like,
I don't...
And so, I don't...
Also, how cool is that scene where John Wick goes down to the basement with the sledgehammer to like open up his stuff?
Oh yeah, that's badass. Especially with the music they got playing in the background. Like, it had a great soundtrack.
The gold coins in his address book.
And homie's like, going on about Baba Yaga.
Yeah, Baba Yaga. Oh my gosh, they're so... To like pick who has more fun, I mean... Ooh.
That's another thing, Mel, I would have connected as well. Is I think that they spent all that time in John Wick calling him Baba Yaga and he's the boogeyman.
Yeah.
But I feel like Equalizer went more ham in the actual being a horror movie part. Because he kind of feels like a Jason Voorhees at a certain point, the way he's ripping dudes up, you know?
Yeah, that has me thinking when it comes to the Equalizer, there's been so many scenes where this guy has went off on these guys and it's been terrifying.
Yeah.
And I can see guys like, oh, snap, I did not see this coming.
Oh, yeah.
But with John Wick, it's just been like straight action and it hasn't really shown you that, oh, wow, this dude right here is serious. I mean, I understand like he's killing a whole bunch of dudes and all that stuff, but it hasn't been to a point like what they did with the Equalizer where you actually had dudes like, oh, nah, I'm out of here. I can't do that.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing with the Equalizer, he don't even give people a chance. He's like, nah, you ain't leaving.
Right.
So,
yeah, dude, I think they're both very equally good.
Because Denzel Washington really carried that movie.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Equalizer, now John Wick, Keanu Reeves, he did a good job.
Yeah,
but it was mainly just the action.
Right.
But when it comes to the Equalizer, Denzel, he always brings in that certain type of charisma, that certain type of like persona into those type of roles, like a man on fire or whatever. Very true. Especially like his interrogation scenes. To me, I feel like are probably some of the best interrogation scenes in like all of cinema. Yeah, just like his voice and then his eyes and his mannerisms, it's just so good.
Well, you said earlier, John Wick's not that intimidating, and I totally agree. I think the reason John Wick comes across, well, it's not John Wick, it's Keanu. Yeah. John Wick comes across as intimidating because everyone keeps letting us know that he's such a badass, and we see him kill people. That's fair. But Keanu has such a lovable energy about him, where the whole movie, you're kind of like, man, like, you're rooting for him, but it's kind of from this, like, yeah, I like this guy. Like, I would get a drink with this guy. Why is everyone being mean to my poor man? Just leave him alone. Where Denzel's got a much more intimidating kind of like, boy, I'll whoop you, kind of energy. Yeah.
Shoot, daddy coming home.
Exactly. It's his character from Fences. Like, I ain't gotta like you.
I
ain't gotta like you.
Oh, you don't want to mess with him, bro.
Oh, man, that's what it's exactly what
I'll say. There was only probably one scene that John Wick came off intimidating, and that was the interrogation scene they did with him when they kidnapped him or whatever. But Keanu Reeves has never really been that great of an actor. Right. He's good. But Denzel's on a whole nother level. So, but it was still a great monologue, though.
Man, it's so, because what my biggest problem is I think I like the first half of John Wick more. Right before I start to get kind of like, okay, it's getting a little bit samey, but then I like the second half of Equalizer more because the first half, all the setup, I was less interested in.
Well, I can feel you on that. I feel you on that because I would say right after that interrogation scene when they kidnapped Keanu or John Wick. Yeah. That's where it started to like die down.
Starts to drag.
I mean, because even though that final act when he's killing people with the cars, it's badass. Yeah. But it's
so much of it.
It's like it's tacked on because pretty much like the movie seemed like it's over with. But they like,
especially when he kills the son,
still a little short.
You're totally right.
Yeah, it's like it's short.
Well, and
so
like
we got to have the dad do something stupid.
Exactly.
You feel me?
Let's get into that because could not agree with you more. What was the point of selling out your son?
So mad. I was like, you already gave him up.
Yeah.
Why do you now have to go seek vengeance against William Dafoe's character or whatever? Is that who it was?
I don't even mind that because then at least he could be like, well, I wouldn't have had to give up my son if it wasn't for you. But it's so stupid to me that he's going to decide to give up his son and then go and F with John Wick anyway. Like you said, just team up with him.
But I'll say that's one of the things that goes towards his character at the same time. But that one was a little bit too extreme.
Right.
Because just to give up your son and then to turn around and be like, oh, no, let's kill this dude. And then you only bring like what, 5, 6 dudes with you. Like, you really bring everybody that you got left. But
get a sniper.
Even bring some allies that you got.
Right.
But basically, his character was always that type of dude that will talk trash as soon as John Wick got an upper hand on him. You're like, oh, wait, no, let's chill.
Right.
So he's done that like I think twice before he gave up his son.
If when he had John Wick tied up, just shot him.
Yeah,
we could have just.
I would just like do it, bro.
Just do it.
Like just kill me, right?
Yeah, right.
Have one of your boys record it with your phone. Send it out to everybody. Just kill me, dude.
It got a little Dr. Evil on the like. I have a gun, but instead I'm going to leave the room and let these guys put a bag over your head. And I just hope you die. I hope nothing happens.
Like, really?
I hope this all goes off that hedge.
John Wick.
You're right.
John Wick was your personal hitman, pretty much. He is the sole reason why you are where you are now. Yeah. You're going to disrespect him like that?
Exactly. I don't even need to watch you die. I just trust these guys. Good luck.
It's ridiculous.
I lied. I changed my mind. I'm giving the concept of the Equalizer, and I'm giving more fun to John Wick. That's what it is.
I mean, yeah, like John Wick, it all depends pretty much on who you're watching the movie with.
Oh, that's true. That's
so, like, if you're watching it with your friends, your boys, whatever, pretty much like how she was saying, watching it with her brother, she will watch John Wick.
Sure, right.
She watch it with her friends, her girlfriends, she'll watch The Equalizer. So it pretty much all depends, especially with The Equalizer having more entertaining, more unique kills. That has a lot of people go like, oh, snap.
Right, yeah.
Because I think at one point when he shoved the corkscrew at the dude's jaw, did he break his jaw?
It's like, I
or
don't
something?
even know. It's
like, did he show him,
through.
like, rip his jaw or something?
Mm-hmm. Or when the Russian guy's going through the crime scene photos, and it's just where his eyeball is supposed to be, where he took the shot glass and went in. It's like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I think if I was going to use the word kind of fun or entertaining, I still think I edge it out on John Wick. I think it's almost like what you said, where you're like, if I'm going to invite my friends to watch who are more interested in plot, then we'll do that. But if I want to bring my brothers over who are just going to want to see like a fun movie, then kind of John Wick. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. And honestly, like today, if I was like, hey, someone was like, you got to rewatch one of those, I'd probably just pop in John Wick. Fair. It's also an easy watch.
It is an easy watch.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
It goes down easy.
And now that I already know the dog's dead, I'm more prepared.
Right.
If you probably start the Equalizer movie off where he talks to the girl and then walks her home.
Right.
And they capture her and stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably like a good point where you're like, yeah, this movie's cool because it's somewhat similar to John Wick, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just the coolest thing you could get, though. Like, you didn't do it for a coin?
No, I didn't. No, I completely. Well, again, the cowboy thing, right? That's like they're westerns. Like this movie, again, cowboys don't call the cops. They take a gun and they go deal with Dirty Dan themselves, right? Cowboys, when they go to the saloon, you drop off the coin and that pays for your room and board and your drink. I mean, literally, you could probably take a John Wayne movie and like put it over the top of like John Wick and you'd see all of this kind of cowboy shenanigan going on. So it kind of plays, even his car is kind of this allegory for a horse. Got like a name for his car.
Okay.
I think it might be a Mustang.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I got a video I got to make here now. All of a sudden, John Wick, the Western.
That pretty much is like a
neo Western. All right, so I think I've got fun for John Wick. What do y'all got?
I'm gonna say fun wise. I would say more fun just looking back on that and like the gruesome kills and everything else. I'm gonna say Equalizer.
All right, I respect that.
Yep.
When we talk about which movie is better,
right?
I would say it is The Equalizer because now that we've been talking about this whole thing, and I already know there's going to be so many people in the comments, what? I'm going to end this video. Kick this dude off. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You serious? No, you actually got to look at it correctly.
Yeah,
The Equalizer somewhat makes more sense than John Wick.
Yeah, dude.
But I understand a lot of people's like, oh, John Wick is a turn your brain off movie or whatever.
Yeah, but The Equalizer kind of is too, but it also still, I think, made a couple smarter decisions. Yeah. And there's no part in that movie where I think I am screaming at the screen like, why is this guy doing this? Why didn't he just protect his son? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel you.
It seemed like the only time that The Equalizer got stupid is when they ramped it up on the action, right? Just doing the same little tropes that the movies do.
Yeah.
With that whole final act, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, they both are at the end feel a little bit like, okay, it's over. Let's wrap it up. Okay. They fight in the rain. The only thing we're missing is them on a rooftop in the rain with like a lightning storm. Is that 3 and 3?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We've got our first twin movies tie. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way because I really feel like that.
Movies, exactly.
Yeah, man. I was totally expecting to be like, oh, John Wick nailed it already. What's Equalizer doing?
So did I.
Exactly.
I did not expect to be as into the Equalizer as I was. Like once it picked up, you know what I mean? I was like, oh damn! And then it's just Denzel, and like anything he just talked to me all night. He's kind of like Morgan Freeman. I just want to listen to you talk a lot.
Thank you so much, Melverse, for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank y'all. It's so fun, man.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely hope to have you again sometime.
Oh, of course. Like, I want to do unfriended and friend requests.
Yeah, we could do. Oh man, that's
Unfriended
Yeah, I can say we could definitely collab on that. You know,
Oh,
a
yeah.
horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Heck
Oh.
yeah. Shoot, I'll be screaming like a bitch.
The COVID horror movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much, Ariana, coming in, everyone sharing our thoughts here. And we'll go ahead and catch you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace.